Hello, hello, and welcome to Kingdom Leaders Connect podcast. I am your host, Shaunda Joy Howerton, and I am excited to have our guest here on today. Listen, her name is Shawntia Maria, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself to this amazing audience. You don't want to miss it. Are you trademarked? Well, I hope you will make the move to be after we introduce her to you. And after she shares some information with you, I think we all going to be running to the trademark office. Let us introduce. Let's see here. Let me get you all queued up. Hello, hello.
Hey, hey y'all, hey y'all.
Well, we are so glad to have you here. So tell us who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff. And this is Kingdom Leaders Connect. So we're not shy about loving on Jesus. Somebody say amen.
Because if you don't got no Jesus, you don't got no business and you don't got no salvation, okay?
Come on here, say that again. All right now.
So
Tell
yes,
us. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I'm Shawntia Maria. I am the go-to DIY for trademarks. I'm the trademarkpreneur. I'm also a Christianpreneur, but I help small business owners DIY their trademark or help them trademark their brand at an affordable price.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell me, DIY, do it yourself, right? How did you get there? What was the journey? That's what we want to know. What was the journey like?
So that was actually, it's funny because you never know what God wants you to do, right? So
Right.
2018, I had 4 daughters, but back then I had 3, right? And we were starting a business, Promise Quest Sisters. And it's all about encouraging girls to love themselves each day. So I was like, okay, we're going to start this business. Let me do a trademark search. So I did know that let me at least do a trademark search, right? So I did a trademark. Okay, great. No one has any of the slogans we want to use or our business name. So let me just go ahead and launch, right? So we launched and I just did a random search months, not even, it wasn't that long after. And then I realized, I said, oh, these people have the stuff that we created on their website. And it was just one person, it was like multiple people. And every time I would find one, I would send it to my friend. I was like, look at this. Like, what's going on? And that's when I realized I didn't own my brand. I didn't have, I started this brand. I had this idea. God gave me this idea. However, I didn't own it. I couldn't tell them to take it off. I didn't know what to do. So I was talking to my husband. I need to figure this out, right? I need to learn how to trademark my stuff. So I did some research. And again, I want everyone to know I am not a trademark attorney. This is not legal advice. Please do not assume that this is legal advice. Anything I say, right? I'm just going to give you guys some general information about the trademark process. And then I say, I talked to some attorneys and they were expensive, they have every right to be expensive for me at that time because they went to school, they have the degrees. Congratulations. However, right? I'm already investing money into the website, into designs, into this, and it's already costly enough. How can I reduce my costs? I said, I'm going to figure out how to do it myself. So I did it myself. The first time I got a partial refusal. So that means I did was correct. Some of them were not correct, right? So I talked to the examiner attorney who was on my case. She's like, oh, well, you can fix it. You can still be registered and whatever, right? And then I said, well, I don't have time to deal with this right now. Let me just at least talk to an attorney and let her fix this. And then I go about my business. So she did. I did have an attorney to fix one of my office actions in the beginning.
Okay.
Afterwards, I was like, oh, that was it. Sometimes you get it, but you don't get it until somebody shows you. And you're like, that was it?
Right.
You know what? Let me just go ahead and keep trademarking the rest of the items that I have. So I'm doing that. Then I got to 4 registrations, right? Now I own 4 registrations that I now have done on my own.
Wow.
I'm like, this is so much fun. No, seriously, like I love learning about trademarks. And then other people, like I created a course. So I had a friend who said, girl, you know what? You need to put this information in the course. I was like, no. And this is why it's so important with either Kingdom Leaders Connect, because we gotta push ourselves to, make sure that we're walking in God's purpose sometimes. Because sometimes we don't want to, right? And if we need that friend to say, sis, you have this knowledge, everyone needs to know about it. So then she pushed me to do my course. And then people were like, why don't you just do it? I said, I can't, I don't want to, because I'm always like the in trouble, And I said, you know what? Let me call the trademark office and see what they say. So I called the trademark office up and they said people file trademark applications all the time. I said, well, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? What does this mean?
Right.
So I was like, okay, let me just call back and talk to another person. I'm like, maybe they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about. Let me ask someone else. So I called back and then they said it again. So then I was like, okay, I'm getting it. All right. So now then what really hit me was because trademarks are public knowledge. And then someone from like a random social media site or, one of those sites that trademark filings sent me something. And I was like, how do they always know this information? I said, let me call the trademark office again.
Okay.
Number on speed dial. And I said, you know what? I could do this. I can start my own filing company.
Wow.
Someone else, why can't I start my own trademark filing company? There are other people who don't care, who just literally will take your money. And
you're right.
And that for me, it was so important because the people I've helped so far, they were small business owners who probably would have never thought about trademarking their brand or even thought about being able to pay for it because it's so expensive sometimes, right? Out of their budget. But I say, you know what? I'm about to make this happen. So, last June, I launched, during a pandemic, right? Because now the business that I was working with my daughter's Promise Quest sisters, like, of course you can't go nowhere. You can't do no shopping. Print on demand is seized. E-commerce is down. Like I said, I gotta pivot, right? And I think sometimes, God sets you up so you can learn how to pivot as well, right? And you got to learn how to change those lanes, right?
Yes.
When he's telling you to. And when that happened, it changed my business forever because I found my passion again. I always do things for my daughters, right? I love them so much, right? Doing something for my husband. We have a life insurance business, right? I'm always doing something for him. But like, what about me? Like, what I like to do, okay? And I said, this is something I like to do. So I found my passion randomly during the pandemic, not even knowing
where God was going to take you.
Now you never know where he's going to take you.
Listen, okay, so let me just recap for the people that's going to catch this in a minute. You just said so much, but what I have 3 takeaways from what you shared. Well, probably 4. One is you found your stuff on somebody else's site because you were not branded, right?
That's right. Yep.
And I know you've been getting at me, and we just gonna leave that right there. Hallelujah. Just look, take the hair behind my ears. It's coming. Listen, but here's the thing: I don't have joy in doing this, so I try to do it myself. And I said, yeah, no, what we gonna do is hire, because that's one thing that we as kingdom leaders really need to get out the mindset of having everything for free. Right?
Yep.
We want other people to invest in us. We want other people to sow into our ministries, because that's what it is.
Right.
It's ministry in the marketplace. However, we don't want to sow into nobody else because it costs too much. Now. So, what do they say? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Unto you.
And
that's
so
right.
Now it's going to be less expensive to do it myself. Here's what I don't want to do. I can't keep trading time for dollars. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because my time, I don't need to know this. I trust you. Listen, you have become my business bestie. I trust you, right? And so let me just share with the audience how amazing you are. And then I'm going to try to get to those other three things, right? I reached out to Shawntia via Instagram because I kept seeing her amazing uh, content on Instagram about trademarking. I knew that I needed to trademark my stuff. There's no doubt about it. However, I didn't want to pay the attorney. Let's just be clear. I didn't want to pay the attorney. And I'm talking about myself, right? Talking about investing. But I knew that it was going to be an investment. I just knew also that it didn't have to be that investment. That
Right.
the attorney's office is asking for, right? And so then I began to see your DIY, do it yourself, trademarking, and I invested in your program, your do it yourself program. However, I got to a place, I think I got stumped, and I reached out to you, right? In the DMs. I was in her DMs, y'all. I was in the DMs. In Instagram, and I asked for information, but not only did you give me information, you did even better. I was like, here's my number, call. I'm like, oh, wait, that's amazing, right? And we connected immediately. We were talking like we were homegirls that knew each other from way back when.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah,
and that's what kingdom connecting is all about. We ought to have like hearts and like minds because we're serving the king, right? We're
that's right.
serving the master. So we ought to have some residue. We ought to look like each other in some aspect, right? We ought to
Yep,
sound like each other in our hearts, the way that we connect with one another. And so let me just say, that's really a great way to do business, is to be able to connect with somebody who speaks your love language. Come on here. I'm talking about the God
yep.
love language now, right? It speaks your love language and you feel comfortable with. You did not hesitate. You didn't say, I'll answer your question for another $50. You ain't do none of that funny business, right? And we understand that this is business. We understand upselling, or at least we should, right? We get that. But then we also understand, you know what? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I don't know why that scripture just stuck, but you did a marvelous job at displaying just that, right? And so it really went from there. We ended up becoming business besties, right? And so I love having somebody to grow with. We are in two different markets. However,
Yep,
our markets collide. They
that's
connect.
right.
You all can't be in business without being trademarked. Look at me, slap my own hand. Okay, that's what I'm doing. Right, right, right. All right. And so just saying, I keep it real. I'm gonna tell the truth. And so I'm really excited about what you're doing because so many businesses need to be trademarked. We all rush to get the LLC or
Yep.
try to do the business credit, and I'm guilty because the coaches that I had, that was their focus.
So let
Okay.
me speak on
Go
that,
ahead.
right?
Yeah, I saw that
So
face. Yeah, go
thank
ahead.
you, sis, for all of that. And I think I'm such a if you really know me, like I'm like this all the time. Like I'm a relationship person. I'm genuine. Like if you're my friend, like you my friend, and I'll try to do whatever I can to help you along the way. But also, I remember being in business in the beginning, and just like as yourself, the business coaches were saying, oh, don't worry about no trademark. Don't worry
Yeah,
about that. Worry about making money. But like, yeah, you don't want me to worry about my trademark, but you want me to buy your course, right?
that
But
part.
when you think about it, what do all the entertainment people out there, the famous, the stars, what's the first thing they do? Beyonce, anyone else, they have a baby, they're gonna trademark the baby name.
Mm,
Kardashians, what do? They trademark the baby's name right before,
really?
after, sometimes before you just, and then
Wow.
we, I think as a culture, we're programmed just say, oh, your LLCs and oh, your business credit and oh, this and that, because for some reason, like we're not taught. We need to be taught to own our stuff
Absolutely.
down, because with your trademark, if you own it and you use it and you continue to pay your fees, you can transfer it down, you can transfer your legacy.
Mm,
And I think in our culture, in our community, sometimes we always, somebody's always taking our stuff, always taking our stuff. We never get credit for it. And because we don't know this basic stuff that the coach
mhm.
should be telling us, but it's not benefiting them, or maybe they don't even know.
That part. I'm like, I want to say something. Like, I think it's that part they don't really
Yep.
understand how important it is. And I've even been told That's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if somebody else comes through and it becomes a Kingdom Leader Connect or a position with a purpose or any other 20 other things that I'm doing as a
Yep.
serialpreneur, right? Um, one, they could tear up my brand because
Mm-hmm.
they may have the name but not the heart, right?
That's right.
And so, what are they doing in the name of my brand? That's first of all. But then, two, I've already invested, like you said, logos, in time, energy, fly, all that stuff. And so, yeah, it's really important to have that, even aside from the LLC. Now, it's really interesting because one of those coaches, yeah, listen, flip
Take a
tails.
pause
Okay.
on
Yeah,
take a pause on it.
listen. Um, focus had us to focus so much on building the LLC, getting our business credit together. But then something came out with one of the young ladies. I think it was with I don't want to say it, so I'm not, I'll just be careful what I say. But there was a brand that was compromised. Somebody else had taken the
Mhm.
idea, right? But the thing was, though she had built this amazing business, it was never trademarked.
So, I hear horror stories all of the time. And
Mm,
a lot of people, like, of course, you take it for a grain of salt, like, that be a big deal to you, that's fine. But for those people who actually even start off as a small brand or a bigger brand, like the crazy things that happen,
mm,
so surprised. And I've even had clients who they would fill out their form and they were still getting their like specimen and their evidence together just to make sure. They just took a little longer, life gets
mhm,
away. Oh, I'll get to it. Like a week goes by, 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
mm.
I'm like, hey, you gonna send the stuff in? Like, what's going on? So by the time they send the stuff in, they do a search again and it's gone.
Oh my.
Now, this has happened on multiple occasions because
Mm,
remember, a lot more people are starting businesses since,
yeah.
and then you have China who was trying to mess up the system and the trademark, just filing fraudulent applications. So you have all this stuff in the database. So now it's even longer
Mm,
trademark. But I'm a firm believer now. Like if God, gives you this brand and gives you this vision, and and you're able to trademark it, you should.
yeah.
Of course,
Absolutely.
everything isn't. You can't trademark everything, right?
Mhm.
You can't trademark generic terms or phrases. People try to trademark Black Lives Matter. They can't trademark, like certain things cannot be trademarked because it's not exclusive to you, right? But if it can be trademarked, you're in a position to trademark
Mhm.
it, you should.
Absolutely. I got a question for you. What about quotes? A lot of business owners have quotes. Can you trademark a quote?
You can trademark anything as long as
Ooh.
you're good or service. So a lot of
Mhm.
people think that when they come up with these phrases, like, oh, that's exclusively mine. This is mine. Ain't nobody know. Doesn't work like that. You have to trademark, according to the USPTO, when it's with a good or service. And also, not only that, it's just you got to know what you're doing too, right? So in the
Mhm.
actually go over some things that's on the USPTO website that most people don't know how to navigate.
Yeah.
Can navigate it and they'll have more access to it because the trademark office wants you to trademark your brand, right? But they give out so much information. But when you try to, like, I remember
Yeah.
the first time I was there, I was on YouTube, I was in my application, going back and forth, going back and forth. I said, this is like too much. And I got timed out. And then I had to do it again. And it was like, I wish I just had
See, that's the part.
beforehand.
That part right there, that's why I don't love it right there. That's why I'm going to just send it to you and let you do what you do because I don't love that. And I started it. I followed it. You did great. Your training was absolutely great. I just didn't have the time. And then people kept asking me questions in my house. You know what I mean? So then it was like, okay, I got to stop to do this. Oh, Lord, hold on. Let me go stop to do this. Okay, hold on. Now, where was I again? Oh, I done timed out of this. I said, you know what? Listen, I don't got to be great at everything, right? I am going to do what I do, and I am just going to pass it along. So I am grateful for you. One of the other things that I want to get to that you said was that you found your passion in the pivot. Mm,
Yep.
mm,
Yep.
Like I want to stay there, right? You found your passion
Yep.
in the pivot. What? I love that. And so that really, because as Christians, one, we have to learn how to transition. We got to learn how to pivot, right?
Yep.
Everything can't always remain the same.
That's
And
right.
God wants
Yep.
to do something new. We always love that scripture. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Can't you see it? And everybody be like, yes, Lord, I see it. But I ain't gonna do nothing different though. But I see it though. How you see it when you won't even go around the corner? You won't even drive home a different way, right? We want to do
Right.
everything the same. But
Yep.
sometimes the driving home a different way could be the piece of land that the Lord want to show you. You never know.
Yep.
You
And
won't
and
know. Hmm.
and I think that's so important. Passion is I found my passion with the pivot, but not only that, because that I found my passion, I'm able to help so many and I'm able to serve so many others in the
That's
process. And
that's
that for me, that is what matters the most.
absolutely. And that part, oh my goodness, that's a mouthful. So when we're not willing to pivot, when we're not really willing to trust God in the direction that He's leading us in, even when it don't make sense, right?
Yep.
But when we're not willing to do that, then we don't follow Him. We don't walk into our purpose. And then we have to realize too that our purpose is not just for us. As you said, our purpose is really for us to be used as vessels,
That's right.
conduits, right? He wants to use us to get his message to so many other people. And there
That's
are
right.
other people that may be doing DIY trademark, but they don't have your personality. They
Yep.
don't have your heart. They don't have your love.
Yep.
They don't have
But
your willingness to step into the DMs and holler at your girl,
yeah.
right? To make
but
sure you're getting it.
but you know what? It's so important. So for me, right, as a Christian, I'm a Christianpreneur, right? I got that trademark too, right?
Okay, y'all don't try it. I'm just saying.
Now, I remember when okay, so let's rewind. So there was someone actually online who was doing something similar to me, right?
Mhm.
And this was the first person that I've seen that was online. I mean, it could be somebody out there, but this is the first person I saw who wasn't a trademark attorney. Do you know how excited I was? I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm not out.
Yeah.
There's someone like me." And I slid into her DMs
Okay.
and I said, "Hey sis, let's connect." Because like you said, what God
Mhm.
has for me, He has for me.
Absolutely.
Issues with collaboration because I send her clients, you
That's
know,
good.
and she refers me, and I'm just like, sis, like, because when you find people who you know are
Mhm.
righteous people and good people and have the best interest, so what if you're doing the same thing?
That's right. That's
You
right.
got to learn to not be so, let's say, or jealous or envious or think that God is not going to take care.
Mhm.
God's going to take care of
Mhm.
you because you are His child.
Absolutely. And the way that you present the information may be totally different than the way the other
Correct.
person presents it. Everybody's person, I laugh all the time. Some people can't
Yep.
stand that. Child, if they're all serious and, sanctimonious and if the Lord said,
Wow.
yeah, they even, I mean, even when I preach, I am, what you see is what you get. Preaching, teaching, whatever. This is me, right? And my husband has had people to come and tell him the message was good, but I think she was laughing too much. Oh well, because it's the joy of the Lord is our strength, right? And that's okay. I used to be really offended and like, how
Yep.
could they say that? But you know what I realized is my voice print is not for them. I
That's
wasn't
right. And
speaking for
that's
them.
okay.
And
And
that's
that's what I
okay.
had to learn because
Yes,
your community is your community. So who is for me will be for me. And
absolutely.
and I'm okay with not being part of someone else's, let's say, clique or community because
Yeah.
they talk differently. And that's okay. I'm still gonna love on them. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
congratulate them. But who is for me will be for me. And
Mhm.
that's so important, especially even in your brand, like right?
Mhm.
Your brain is for you, but you got to be the one to protect it. If
Yes.
it's going, God gonna say, you ain't do what I said, child. So I'm
That
gonna give it to somebody else, and don't get mad.
mm,
Person stole it from me
mm,
because you
mm.
had the opportunity to know that you should have done it, and you waited, and as I say, you procrastinated, right?
Woo.
And now you are out, right? For
Yes.
the count, but don't worry, God still got something for you. It's just not being at this right now because
Mm, mm.
you waited.
Listen, that is so hurtful, right? If I mean, if that were to happen, that would be so hurtful. I heard something yesterday and it really blessed my heart. It hurt, but it was like, oh, that's good. She said, let me see if I can get this right now. She said the cost, oh my goodness. Mm-mm-mm. It cost. Mm-mm. I can't. I don't want to mess it up. I'm gonna find it and put it in the chat once we get this whole thing squared away. But it was kind of like the cost. There is a cost to being obedient, but there's also a cost not to. And it was like, ooh, that
Mm,
hurt. Like, yeah. Well, a lot of times we
mm,
think about the cost. Okay, it's gonna cost money to get trademarked. It's gonna cost money to get a logo. It's gonna cost money to, it's gonna cost to create a business, but what does it cost not to do these things or not to be in position
mm,
and then see what you were supposed to be? That cost the pain of that. Listen, you talking to me and I feel the heat, and so I'm gonna just move on because I feel like in my shana, we probably need to end this and just send my information like yesterday, right? But that's so important, what you said, and remember that we're sowing seed, and just like the one that God, well, the we won't call it God, but we know it was God, right? That gave the 1 talent, the 5, and the 10. We know it was the manager, but the concept is really like when God gives us our gifts and our talents, even
yeah.
our business visions and our ministry visions. We're responsible for making a good return on those. We're
Mm.
responsible for doing the best that we can with what God has given us. And if that means somebody, ouch, okay, if you can't say amen, just say ouch. Ouch. Okay, ouch. I'm saying ouch for myself, okay? But and so we're responsible. Don't worry, I'm sending my stuff today, y'all. Don't even worry about it. I'll find the money. I'm sending it today.
And
But
I even got payment plans.
now, let me just go ahead and flash on here who you are so they will know how to find you. This is Shawntia Maria, the trademarkpreneur, in case you're just joining. And we just want to say thank you for tuning in on today. This is Kingdom Leaders Connect, the podcast where kingdom leaders come together, share their amazing knowledge that they are an expert in their field, right? We talk about positioning and how that has pushed us into our purpose. And so I'm so glad to have Shawntia Maria here. You can find her on Instagram. That is, what'd you say,
I
IG?
was like, on IG.
On IG. I'm old school Instagram. Now they only say the whole name on IG. Okay. Listen, she is the bomb.com and she can help you get your business trademarked. And so listen, yes, yes, yes. And so that part, right? We're responsible for being good stewards over what God has given us. And I love what you're talking about. The learning how to found your passion in your pivot. And that was really your positioning, right? You ended up trying to do it. You found out some information, you kept researching it, and your position and life kind of pushed you into your purpose, which is now the trademarkpreneur. Is that right?
That's right.
I
Yep.
love it.
I would have never thought of it. But the blessing, God just knows what you need because again, I had 4 girls, right? My husband
Mhm.
worked all day long. I'm at home with them, right? Ain't nobody watching all these kids, right?
Right.
So I had to be, I wanted to still, be at home with my babies,
Mm-hmm.
still have a life and still make my own money, and
Yes.
not just be a wife or a mom. I just
Mhm.
be Shawntia. Like this is what Shawntia likes to do, and this is how she can help you out. And I just thank God for that. That He brought that to me. But now let it be known. I didn't know everything. I'm still learning on the way.
Mhm.
was a change, issues like in the beginning where people felt that I was less than, or who do you that you can teach somebody this? You didn't go to law school, right? You didn't go to
Listen.
law. You're not a lawyer. Who told you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's really unfortunate because even when you are in those situations when someone is telling you what you can and cannot do, right? God always says,
Mm-hmm.
I can do all, you can do all things through,
That's right.
right? And that's what I think about. And I still show them love. Okay,
Mm.
information, sis.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. If I need your services one day, I will go to you. All right. Thank you very much. Because at the end of the day, right, I am a Christian, right? And I
Yes.
show the same love and the same grace that God has shown me. But
Mm.
what type of business you will have people say, well, you're a branding specialist, but you don't even have nothing branded. How you going to do that? Because God will find a way for me to do it. Right.
Okay. Let's pause right there because that is good. Okay. Because you're talking about rejection, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not being accepted even in the community of those who may be doing it or who even need the services. Now, they don't know what to do,
Yep.
that part, but because they don't know what you know, they also don't think that you're qualified to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But who God
Correct.
equips, he qualifies, right? And
That's
so
right.
I love how God does it. So, that's really a good tidbit right there because even though we are kingdom leaders, we are business owners, we may be pastors, preachers, teachers. Listen, you are an at home mama like myself, a stay at home mom, right? And
Yep.
so we are leaders in our homes, right? So,
That's right.
the definition of leader can be very wide. But even in that, listen, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day about rejection. About we pulled the boys out of public school and decided to homeschool. Oh Lord, well, why you do that? Come on here. First of all, now, and then the pandemic hit. Hmm. Now everybody was home. Hmm. Look
And
at God.
everybody's pulling their kids out.
Look at God. Now, what had you had said again about what? Oh, well, y'all must have had one up. I guess y'all. Listen, you better listen to God. Hello, somebody. You better listen to him. He'd have had to shut the whole word down and let them know we knew what we was
Yep.
doing. Okay, but anyway, moving on. That's a whole nother episode, right? For another day. But rejection happens. Rejection happens to the best of us. And what did he say? When they don't receive you, you in good company. That's the Shaunda version, right? Of that scripture, but they rejected Jesus. So why would we think that we would not be rejected? But the thing
That's
is,
right.
I was looking the other day, and the couple times that they did not receive Jesus, what did he do? He just went somewhere else and kept on
Mm-hmm.
doing what he was called to do. He didn't have a whole lot of backlash. He ain't get down and he ain't wave his finger. He ain't get hood with him.
Yep.
He was just and then he actually chastised the disciples who wanted to go at the people and like, you don't know who this is. This the here
Yep.
Jesus. He was like, don't do that. Like it's not necessary.
That's
Just
right.
move on and do what you've been called to do. And so I think that's a good nugget because you didn't let the naysayers discourage you from doing what was in your heart to do. And
Yep.
now look, a bona
Yep.
fide show enough blessed business. What you say? Come on here.
With over 170 trademark filed.
Woo-wee. So you got some receipts, as they say, right?
Yep. Yep. And
Oh
people
wow.
are coming in. They coming in. They rolling
Okay.
in.
You about to have 2 more receipts to add to that at least. Amen. I love it. I love it. And I love what you said too. And that is the whole concept of Kingdom Leaders Connect is creating a safe space for kingdom leaders to come in to share resources. We're not trying to get you to
Yeah.
share everything that you typically charge for, but if there's a tidbit of information, a lot of times as kingdom leaders, we just don't know where to go. We don't know
Yeah.
who has what we need. And if we'll be real, not everybody is receptive when we reach out to them. So it worked out
That's
in your
true.
favor that the young lady who's doing something similar to what you're doing was receptive to you, right? But there
Yep.
are times where people they still have a competitive spirit and they don't
Yep.
always receive it. Why do you want to do this? I don't know you. Why should I share this? It'll be 450. Everybody, listen. Can we? I'm just saying, right? And so creating a community where people can come, not just people, kingdom leaders who are high achieving, impact driven. That means they're action takers, right? Because we
That's
don't
right.
want folks just consuming information, but
And I,
never intending to apply it. That's not
and
what we.
that's right. And that's right there. And I think that distinguish like somebody like you have these ideas, just do it.
Yeah,
No, because once I got in a position, my friend said, you need to do it. And then I kept hearing, you need to do it. I said, you know what? Let
I
it be.
need to do it.
And I just worked on it and I fell through the process. You keep learning on it because you're not going to do everything right. And that's okay. That's business. That's life. Right.
Right.
But you got to do it. Like, just go do it.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's so amazing. God is a connector and Kingdom Leaders Connect, right? So this is how he does things. But just yesterday, I was thinking about the WD-40 and how it got its name is because they tried 39 times and on the 40th time, voila, it did what it was supposed to do. But what if they had given up at the 38th time? What if
Yep.
they had given up at the first time when it didn't work? 39 tries and then it worked on the 40th time. And so we don't always get it right, but that doesn't mean we have
That's
to
right.
stop. And I try to teach my sons, and as when we homeschool, there's a lesson in everything, right? And so what I try to teach them is even in you're not getting something right, you've learned something, right? So
Yeah.
you've learned, okay, maybe I shouldn't do it like this the next time. Let me try to change this variable. And he loves my oldest one. He loves science. So I'm like, okay, this is what science is all about, right? And that's what scientists do. They
Right.
experiment until they figure out how you move this thing around to get this result. And then you
That's
do it
right.
consistently and boom, shakalaka. There you go, right?
Boom.
Boom. There it is. And it's that way in business. It's that way in ministry. And so don't be afraid to pivot. Don't
That's
be
right.
afraid to move some things around. Don't be afraid to change up some things. Listen, I've been through a couple different names. Why? Because I had to find out, and it was good for that season. And as God has
Yeah.
been pivoting and transitioning, we're now in a new place, in a new season, and God is doing some things in this season. But if I'd never started, we wouldn't have got here.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's so important too, because also like before, like a lot of people, like again, I started off as Promise Quest Assistant. I still have the brand, I still
Mhm.
have trademarks in them. And eventually when I have more staff and when I could do more things, right? And when
Yeah.
COVID goes down, I can start doing things with that, right? But I know I talked about it earlier, like with some other friends, now you got to get rich in your niche. Like
Mm.
to focus on one thing. Now, I know people tell you got to have a lot of streams of income, all these great things. Yes, eventually, but you got to do one thing first.
Yes.
For me, once I realized, and my friends were saying, you don't have to do this, because I was in the beginning, I was talking about trademarks and life insurance because I'm a life insurance agent and support my business. I said, but you know what? They was like, no, like just talk about trademarks. That's what you do. That's what you like to do. And you have to talk to your, like you said, your community, because when we're doing so much,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot to do, a lot anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So just imagine in the beginning, I'm not talking about once you have a business established, right? And you have money coming in. But in the beginning, you have to really focus on just going out like with that one thing so you can actually get the results that you want to get.
Absolutely. And you got to listen to the Lord. Come on, somebody. You got to listen to the Lord and not the people, because the people will, discourage you and steer you wrong. And the
Yep.
people will keep you in their comfort zone.
That's right.
Oh, I did that part. They'll keep you in their comfort zone.
Because when you start
Mhm.
crawling out,
Bam. And it makes other people uncomfortable when you start moving and shaking. Okay.
yep, yep,
And here's the thing I want to backtrack on, and then we are just going to wrap this up. But it has been an amazing journey to have you on today as our special guest. And so,
yeah.
when we talk about multiple streams of income, a lot of times people misunderstand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And so they try to get, and I'm guilty, I'm smacking my
Oh,
hand a
look.
whole lot today, right?
Okay. I
But
still, I gotta be like,
slow down, slow your roll, or learn how it's all connecting. That's the thing. You got to learn
Yes.
how it's all
Yes.
connecting, because it may be okay to do the couple different things, but what is the main concept? And when you
Yep.
figure out that main concept, I know that I'm called to kingdom leaders. I'm called to help them show up in life with renewed strength and confidence and respect, right? Put some
Yep.
respect on it, okay? Listen, that's how, because they are kingdom leaders, but they've been rejected. And
That's
so
right.
they've been carrying that spirit around with them. And so they've not been showing up as their best self. Well, guess what? That makes sense now in all the other areas that I've been in and didn't know why I was
Mm-hmm.
in them. You know what I mean? So God has
That's
been
right.
able to bring that main focus, and now it all makes sense. So now I
Yes.
have
Yep.
different avenues to offer you to help you show up with renewed strength, confidence, and respect. You know what I mean? But before, it just looked like I was doing a whole bunch of nothing. But here's the thing. Let me just bring it back in, because I get all over the place, right? But let me bring it back in. But the other part of that is, if you do like your trademark. Okay, so we have your on demand courses, right? Then you have
Yep.
courses where you actually coach and do live trainings, or you actually do one-on-ones with them. So that's another stream. The
Yep.
videos on demand, that's one stream, right? And
Then
so
there will be a book
and there will
eventually.
be a book, and that's another
Yep.
stream. And so that's
Yep.
how you can have one focus, but multiple streams of
That's
income.
right.
And that's the part that people miss, because they are trying to have 10 different businesses. Baby, I'm gonna tell you from experience, that's a hard thing you're doing, right? It ain't impossible, but you got to
And
do
it's
something. It's
expensive.
expensive, and it's expensive in your time, because you're pulling yourself
Exactly.
away from your family and
Yep.
from all the other nine businesses, trying to focus on
Yep.
one business. And so it's great to do multiple things after you have something established.
Yes. Because after my day, okay, because now the kids are back in school, it's 5 hours from
Mm,
dropping them off to picking them up, getting them ready. Each day, I don't have time. Okay. So
mm,
from like 10 to 2 is
yeah.
like my work time, right? And then when they
Mhm.
get home, I may get something done. I may not, but
Yes.
it just really depends. But if I had a lot of multiple things going on, I could, I mean, I probably won't be able to even do the trademarks that I've had. It's true.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, because it requires time. And that's something, again, one of those things like with the WD-40, right? You learn as you go. And sometimes you learn the word no as you go. OMG, right? You learn the word no, because you can't do everything all the time. And it doesn't mean you're never going to get to it, but it's just understanding the timing and the season of what you're supposed to be doing in this season at this time, right? And so I am just so grateful to have you on today. You have been an
Yes.
amazing,
Thank
absolutely amazing
you.
guest. Yes. And we've learned so much from you. And so, real quickly, before we wrap up, let the people know in your own words where they can find you and your website and all that good stuff.
Yes. You can find me at ShawntiaMaria.com. If you have any questions, there's an option that you can book a time to talk to me. Because remember, my time is thin. Okay. I'm on Instagram at Shawntia Maria, Facebook at Shawntia Maria, on Clubhouse. Yeah, I'm on Clubhouse.
Yay.
Shawntia Maria, and you can email me at info@ShawntiaMaria.com. You can text me at 240-480-0750.
Okay, I love it. And I want to spell it out, because our listening audience may not know how to spell it. So it's SHAWNTIA, Shawntia Maria, Maria. So that's ShawntiaMaria.com. And then follow her on all of her social media platforms. And if you go with her, and I hope you will, just let her know I sent you. All right. And let her know you heard the podcast and you were just amazed at all of her amazing information. So I thank you so much, Shawntia Maria, for being on the Kingdom Leaders Connect podcast. And I
Yes.
look forward to you getting me straight, okay, in the
As
trademark.
you know, I will.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much. And you guys have a great day. And thank you for listening to the Kingdom Leaders Connect podcast. You have been an amazing listening audience. If you're not already following the podcast, I want to encourage you to make sure you follow it, but also make sure you share it with another kingdom leader who may need what we have. All right. So you go on and enjoy yourself. Remember that favor and increase are following you all the days of your life, not to mention grace and mercy. You are a kingdom leader and you've been positioned by God with a purpose. Have a great day.